Hey y'all. Okay, I have a pretty incredible rosary story. My little crucifix I got at the Goodwill. Serious. Okay, here we go. Friday after work, I was going to the Adoration Chapel, and I'm going to say I decided, but I don't really think that that's the case, to go into the little thrift store on my way home, and I really didn't want to. It was like 1:30 in the afternoon. I hadn't eaten all day. It was hot out. It's July in Florida. And then I found my car going in, and I said, okay, now to find a place to park. And I didn't even put my sun shield up because I even said it out loud. I'm just going in for a minute. I'm only going to be a minute. So I go in, I'm looking around, I go to the back, just looking around. And then I found, I should probably show you, hold on. I found, but we all know how it really works. This Eastern Orthodox crucifix. I think it was maybe $2 or $1. You can see how big it is, my hand. And I was like, what? No way. And then I looked up, and then there's a beautiful little Pieta statue. And I was like, what? No way. So I walk over to the jewelry counter, and it's packed. The line is all the way wrapped around past the jewelry counter. So I try to squeeze in between some people. Sorry, excuse me. I'm just looking. And I looked for rosaries, and I didn't see any. And there was a lady behind the counter. And I said, excuse me, ma'am, do you have any rosaries? And she looked at me. Oh, did you hear my stomach? She looked at me, her eyes wide open, her mouth open, dropped her jaw. She says, oh, I completely forgot to put them out. And I said, oh, that's okay. So she said, it's going to be 10 or 15 minutes. And I'm like, that's okay. I'll wait. No rush, right? So I do my best to wait like 10 or 15 minutes. And I start making my way back up to the counter, though full well I never lost sight of her. I never let her out of my sight. And she walked by me and she said, oh, I'm so glad I saw you. I totally forgot. And I was like, that's okay. So it was probably a good 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes later. She comes out with this tray in her hand, and it's got 5 rosaries on it. And I was like, what? So she sat it down, and I'm looking. I'm like, oh, this one's nice, and this one's nice. And then I picked this one up, and I'm like, wow, the crucifix is really beautiful on this one, like the detail. And it says Italy there on the bottom. And I was like, but it looks broke. Like, I don't know. Hold on. There it goes. Like, I don't know what happened to this one. I'm like, but it looks like the Annunciation on the back, and it's really beautiful. Because I didn't have my glasses on. And I asked her, and I'm like, you have any glasses? And she's like, no. I'm like, okay, that's all right. And then I put this one down, and I'm like, man, it's just so weird, right? But the crucifix on it was really beautiful, and it looks like the Annunciation. So I got this one too. And so I go to get to the Adoration Chapel, and I'm sitting there in my car, and I'm like, I'm kind of feeling like the urge to bring this rosary in. I had already had my other one, my favorite one, in my pocket. But I got this one out of the little brown paper bag, and I put it in my pocket. Well, first I had to tear off the $5 sticker. And I put it in my pocket, and I go into the Adoration Chapel, and I'm there, for a little while, and then I was going to pray the rosary, so I pull it out of my pocket, and I can't remember if I had already prayed the rosary, if it was after. But anyway, I put it in my hand and it starts pouring down rain. And I'm like, oh my goodness, it's pouring down rain. Okay, well, I'm here. I'm going to be here. Awesome. Let's do it. This is amazing. And there were 2 or 3 other people in there with me. And then I'm looking at this, looking at the Lord right in front of me. And I'm looking at this. It's pouring down rain. And I'm like, that is not the Annunciation. That's the grotto. And that's St. Bernadette. I'm like, this is Lourdes. And I know it didn't come from me. I'm telling you, it did not come from me. Number 1, didn't have my glasses on. Number 2, I'm not that smart. And then I started looking at the beads, right? And I'm listening to the rain. I'm like, that looks like water. It's pouring. It's July in Florida. It's pouring. I flipped this over and I gasped. I said, oh, that's a water droplet from Lourdes. I couldn't believe it. I knew it with every fiber of my being that that's what it was. I'm telling you, something told me in my ear because that did not come from me. There's no way that I came up with that. So I'm sitting there, right, falling out of my chair, because I know without a doubt, every fiber of my being, that that's a water droplet from Lourdes, without my glasses on. So I get in the car and I Google rosary with water droplet from Lourdes, and sure enough, you hear the thunder? Sure enough, that's it. That's it. I couldn't believe it. I still can't believe it. I had it blessed today. And yesterday. And the day before. I just had to share that with y'all. I did write it down, but number 1, I wanted to share it so I wouldn't forget. Hit your thrift stores, y'all. You just never know. You just never know. And I did a little prayer. Lord, I hope, Mama Mary, I hope, please pray that whoever this belonged to, that they would be honored that it's with me now. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for listening. Have a beautiful, blessed day in the Lord. All for His glory. Bye.